The Real Life 101 Scholarship Fund has one major goal: to help young black men get an education and avoid going to prison. The national program was founded here in Detroit. It provides African American males with college scholarships of $1,000 every year, a laptop computer, and personal mentors. Real Life 101 helps to remove some of the barriers that prevent these men from going to college. Joining me now is the program's founder, Sid Taylor, along with Executive Director Bryant George. Thanks, both of you, for being here.
Thank you.
So this is a program that, as I said, started here in Detroit, but it's in a lot of places now in the country.
Yes, we are now in 45 of 50 states. And we are a national organization. We realize that, as you've already talked about, the gravity of the African American gap. We had to make sure we scale our efforts up to help meet the challenge. And we're proud of the accomplishments to date. I'm proud of my new Executive Director, Mr. Bryant George.
Your face, right?
I met Bryant in 2006. It's been almost 10 years now, and he's now my Executive Director.
Talk about how this works. I mean, $1,000 in the previous segment, we were talking about how $1,000 from a corporation could give a young person in Detroit an internship opportunity for a summer. You're sort of doing the same thing here. It's the idea of a small gesture making a big difference, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just $1,000. It's $1,000 for 5 years.
For 5 years, right?
Yeah. So they get so that's and then you're talking about 10 per school. So it's really, when you throw in the laptop computers and the computer carrying bags, it's a $60,000 investment per school.
Per school.
For Real Life 101. And I personally fund a lot of this, and a lot of my corporate sponsors, and this is how we sponsor this. So it's a very, very big thing for these young folks to get this jump start. And then we help them with things like the Pell Grants. That's where the mentors come in. The mentors help them find other monies to help them
find their way through that sort of maze of financial support for college.
Absolutely.
It's confusing.
It is. It is.
Bryant, you were a student the first time I met you at Madonna College, and you were starting a program like this. Now you are running this program. That's a pretty big transition.
Thanks.
So talk about what your leadership of this program's been like.
Well, it's been amazing. You know, I asked myself, do I want to be the Bryant George who just, go to Detroit and, attract 15 to 25 students to come to Madonna University to get a degree every year? Or do I want to be a Bryant George who can go, and help the Real Life 101 Scholarship Fund in 45 states out of 50 states at this point, and help those young men get into college? And so, because I was one of those recipients, and I understood that the problem,
we should make clear, this was how you got to.
This is how I got to college. This was the initial, motion of me going to college. And this was the primary reason of why I went to college. And so I remember having my mentor. He was located in Chicago, a guy named Bill Williams. But, every single month he and I would talk. And, I just wanted to make him proud, and he gave me a lot of advice. And so I know that it was important for me and the young man all over the country. It's very important, right?
Talk about some of the young men who benefit from this. What do you see from them, and what becomes of them?
Well, there are many success stories. Brian is one of them. We have one of our students is now a state police officer, state trooper for the Michigan state troopers, and one of our students just got hired by the FBI. We've had one that's an Olympic athlete. And I could go on and on. Actually,
So you guys have books here.
We have a yearbook here.
About,
and our yearbook, this shows a graphic picture of all the states that we're in, all the green. We've got 5 states that we are not in yet, but in addition to that, we have here all the schools that we're in every state. And so in 2016. What we will be doing is we will be giving scholarships in 45 or 50 states, and that's going to be over 700 black males that's going to get scholarship opportunities to help them to meet the challenges that's out there for them.
Yeah.
And we're proud of that. Again, when we talk about scaling up, when I started this program in 2000, I gave 10 scholarships.
Okay.
And now we have like 172 black males in colleges and universities all around the country. And this time next year, we're going to have nearly 1,000 black males in colleges and universities around the country.
Wow, wow.
Yes.
And so how do you identify the people in schools, high schools, who might be recipients of this?
Excellent. So we have the principals, counselors, and also the teachers. They recommend 10 students from their high schools. Those 10 students apply. They submit a 1,000-word essay. That essay question is, what would you personally do to change or help improve the image of African American males in this country? And so those students submit their application, the essay. They also take a photograph of themselves, because with the yearbook, again, we want to capture these moments.
Right.
And instead of having mug shots, we're creating successful pictures of these guys.
Yeah.
And so once they provide those incentives, we put that together and they are awarded. So many scholarships, those are competitive based.
Right.
But we see the deficit that a lot of African American male students face while they're, going through their upbringing and also in high school. And so this is almost like a non-competitive base. So the first 10, those are who are going to college.
That's who gets it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You mentioned that, yearbook shots instead of mug shots. That's a very serious point, though, that for a lot of kids, especially here in Detroit and other places, that's really the choice they're facing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every single day, Stephen.
Yeah. Talk about that choice for you. Talk about how you got to Madonna University instead of trouble in the streets.
Well, I grew up in a 48204
Yeah. Oh,
zip
yeah.
code, and so that was ranked as one of the deadliest.
It's one of the most dangerous and deprived zip codes in the country.
So failure was spelled everywhere within my neighborhood. You saw a lot of drugs, you saw a lot of gangs. But again, I was in high school. Mr. Taylor, Glenn Stafford, they came to my high school, and they just—
Which high school did
Northwestern
you go
High
to?
School.
Okay.
Sorry, and they presented us with the statement: 1 out of 3 of you all have a chance of going to prison in your lifetime. And there was 10 of us in a room, and I immediately saw guys just drop their heads, and I held my head up high, and I began to feel my confidence build at that point. And so Madonna University was the only school that I actually got accepted into throughout the whole state of Michigan.
Wow.
And so I took that one opportunity. I took my mentor, I took my scholarship, and I had my laptop. Those incentives completely saved and changed my life.
Yeah, yeah. And that's got to be a very common story that you hear from young men in the program.
Yes, and that's what keeps me going. And we're now in our 17th year of what I call investing in education and not incarceration.
Right.
Just what Brian just talked about, that's a dynamic that nobody can overlook. 1 in 3 chance of going to prison.
Yeah.
And so I said to myself, we as adults, we should be ashamed of ourselves if we're leaving a populace at that kind of a deficit.
Yeah.
And so as an ex-Marine and Vietnam combat veteran myself, I fall back on something that happened to me in Vietnam, and this was my commitment to do something about something.
What was it about your Vietnam experience that led you here?
Well, it was a day that I was my Marine Corps platoon. We were in a firefight, and I didn't think we was going to make it out. And I just prayed to God that, God, if you get us out of this, one day I'll do something for society. I did not know it was going to be Real Life 101,
Right.
but now I know this is it.
Yeah.
And so the rest of my life will be, I will concentrate on creating a legacy, and also making sure that it sustains itself by bringing in folks like Brian and the younger generation, because I say this all the time. It's the same thing I do with my business. You have to have a continuum,
Yes.
and you have to have a succession plan, and you have to pass this baton to the younger generation, because I say all the time, look, my runway is short. They have a long runway.
They have a little longer.
That's right. And we have to pass our fortunes, our knowledge, and our vision on to the next generation, because they're the ones that's got to take it to the next level.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Talk about how other people who are in your position might start their own idea, get their own idea going. I mean, this started, as you point out, as something pretty small and has grown over time. I mean, there's got to be a lot of other people who could take advantage of that kind of opportunity.
Well, yeah, and if you're talking about from the perspective of starting an organization, well, that's certainly one perspective, but it's a big commitment.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
and it really is, and it takes a lot of creativity, and I don't mean that in a pompous way, but I'm just saying people don't really know. It's just not for everybody. And and sometimes, Stephen, it's best to look at something that already has a foundation and get behind it.
Yeah.
You don't have to go out and create another wheel, so to speak.
Right.
Look at something that has momentum, it has good organization, it has a history, and put your efforts and your finances behind it.
Right.
And so we would encourage those that's out there that's watching this show to look at Real Life 101, www.reallife101.org. You can watch the video. You can find out about what we do. We in 2016, we're gonna bring in 1,000 mentors. We already have about 260 mentors around the country.
Yeah.
Remember, we're a national organization, and we're going to bring in 1,000 mentors.
Wow.
So we'd like for you and our mentors.
And that's a great way to contribute.
It absolutely is.
If you don't have money or can't do it that way, you can contribute by being part of the program.
That's right. And the other unique thing about Real Life 101, Stephen, I've created an organization that I call is about the rainbow of America. The mentors are black, they're white, they're women, they're men, they're Hispanic, so we have a very diverse organization.
Yeah.
So we want you, if you want to get involved, go to our website, www.reallife101.org, go to the mentor link, and you can sign up to be a Real Life 101 mentor.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you guys both for being here. I love the green jackets.
Well, thank you.
You look like Masters winners.
Well, thank you.
Good luck to both of you.
Thank you.